Jack seemed to enjoy the attention that this rumor created and didn't deny that it was him. Hello everyone, and welcome to my paranormal channel. Today we are talking about the real-life vampire Jacques Saint Germain, as well as other real vampire stories from the state of Louisiana. The infamous vampire with the last name Saint Germain was spotted by Voltaire, King Louis XV, and the Italian writer Casanova. Voltaire even said he is the man who knows everything but never dies. In 1902, a man by the name of Jacques Saint Germain moved into 1039 Royal Street in New Orleans, Louisiana. Known for his luxurious parties and fancy clothes, he became very popular among the socialites of New Orleans. However, it didn't take long for people to notice that there was something off about this man. For one, he was known for serving excellent food at his parties, but he was never seen eating it. How he avoided eating was by telling very detailed stories about adventures that happened in the past. However, it was reported that he did drink a lot of red wine. But then they started to become suspicious of him when he claimed to be related to Comte Saint Germain. Comte Saint Germain, which translates to Count Saint Germain, was a French count who was very close friends with King Louis XV. Count Saint Germain was an interesting man. He was extremely intelligent and spoke 6 languages. He even was able to play the violin. Another aspect of this man is that he was a known alchemist, and according to one rumor, he was able to grow diamonds. These diamonds were dubbed the elixir of life, claiming this was why he was able to live forever and also why he was so rich. He did write a book about alchemy and symbols, but till this day, parts of it are not decoded. The first time that this count was accused of being a vampire was in 1760. At a party of the house of Madame de Pompadour, the mistress of King Louis XV, Countess von Gregory approached the count thinking that he was the son of someone she knew 50 years ago. It is said that she realized that this was the same man and asked him if he was. The count didn't even deny it was him and joked that he had been older than 100 years old. So when a man named Jacques Saint Germain showed up in Louisiana claiming to be his descendant, people were rightfully spooked, since the count supposedly died in 1784. But people were quick to point out that the portrait of the count was painted when he was in his 40s. And this new stranger, Jacques, was in his 40s, and they had eerie similarities. Jack seemed to enjoy the attention that this rumor created and didn't deny that it was him. Jacques had a reputation of being a ladies' man, and one day he brought a woman into his house. Now this woman claims that Jacques tried to bite her neck, causing her to jump off the 2nd floor balcony. Although she died later in a hospital, she didn't die before being able to tell the police her story. The police then broke into his home and they discovered that the bottles of wine that he was famous for drinking actually contained human blood. On top of that, they found clothing from different centuries covered in blood in his house. The police then ordered Jack to go to the police station the next day. However, in the middle of the night, he disappeared, only taking a few of his belongings. However, this is not the only time that vampires were rumored to be in the state of Louisiana. The case of the Carter brothers began in 1932 when a woman with slit wrists went to the police station. She claimed that she had been tied up and kept in an apartment along with other people and drained of their blood. The police originally didn't believe her until she took them to the apartment, where they did discover more people tied up, some of them dead, with their blood drained. Of course, the police then tried to arrest the brothers, but even though they had an average build, The police said that they had superhuman strength. The brothers claimed it was very easy to find victims due to it being the Great Depression. And each night after they came home from working their hard labor jobs in New Orleans, they went back to their apartment in the French Quarter and drank blood. Due to this horrifying discovery, they were executed and buried in their family vault. However, a few years later, when the vault was opened again, their bodies had mysteriously disappeared. This story has become so well known that people are terrified of walking in the French Quarter at night, claiming that these vampires are still roaming around looking the exact same way that they did almost 100 years ago. As you can see, the idea of vampires living in Louisiana is nothing new. But the question is, who were the first vampires? La fille à la cassette, women with the suitcases, were women who traveled from France carrying all their belongings in a very small suitcase. Some sources I found claimed that these small boxes were shaped like caskets, giving them the name of casket girls. Others claim that this is due to a mistranslation, where cassette means suitcase was mistranslated as casket, which is casket, hence giving the girls the name the Casket Girls. In the early days of New Orleans, it was mostly men who were explorers, traders, or trappers. The government knew in order to keep the colony that these people needed to have families and children. So they contacted the bishops and mayors that lived in cities in France, and these people sent their undesirable women from their jails to the New World. Although these women were meant to marry these men upon arrival, many of these men refused marrying these women, so the authorities had to think quickly. They asked King Louis XIV for help, and he sent women from orphanages and convents, claiming that these women had more of the domestic qualities that these men were looking for. Hence, the idea of Casket Girl was born. Now, here is where the supernatural comes into the story. Apparently, several of these ships carrying these Casket Girls had women disappear mysteriously, and their small cases were found empty, leading rumors to spread that actually in these cases were vampires. But the creepiness doesn't end there. After being in the new colony for a few years, they built the first convent in 1734, and the building was replaced with the current convent in 1751. Apparently, as the decades passed, the windows began to be boarded up, causing the women who lived inside to never see the sunlight. But some claim that they wanted it to be this way. The Casket Girls lived on the third floor attic, placing their coffin suitcases under their beds. The nuns shut the windows, claiming they were protecting the virtue of the young girls. But suddenly, things began to disappear, and all of the mirrors went missing. People began to fall ill, crops began to die, and rumors began to spread that these girls had brought vampires from France. Years later, a man repairing the roof made a discovery. He discovered that the nails in the roof that shut the windows were actually made out of silver. And then apparently it came out that the Pope had blessed these silver nails. Allegedly, Pope John Paul II even re-blessed these nails in 1987. According to rumors, either journalists or ghost hunters, I've seen people call them either or, snuck into this part of the convent in the 1970s to get a better look at these casket suitcases. The next morning, these two were found decapitated with their blood drained and equipment laying on the street. To this day, no one knows who did this and why. Although several claim that this story is a work of fiction, what do you believe? Make sure to subscribe to see more paranormal videos, and I'll see you all next time.